Hello, hi friends. Welcome to my live session. I'm attorney Latoya McBean Pompey, and it's been a while. If you're out there, go ahead. You know the drill. Put your name and your location in this chat. I'm doing YouTube because I find that YouTube is a very, very efficient way for me to get out the message and answer your questions. And so, friends, I'm in Long Island, I'm in New York, and I want to get out of here soon because I have two dogs at home. One is Justice, the other is Georgie. Okay, so who's with me tonight? So I see Jill. Hi, Jill. Ray Zach is on. I see Carrie Ann. Hi, Carrie Ann. Others, if you're out there, Carrie Ann, this is her first time catching me live. Well, awesome. I know, Carrie Ann, I need to do a better job of telling people when I'm going to be live. Okay, doing this live broadcast is not always very easy because I'm so busy during the daytime, and it's not always that easy to find the time between my meetings, my consultations, and going to court and doing some other things. It's not always easy to find the time to do this. So let's get straight to it. Let's get straight to it. I'm going to answer questions that you raised during our last live session. And that was, I believe, on October 3rd. You guys had such great questions. I loved your questions. And in fact, I filmed a video from one of the questions, actually. I filmed a video yesterday based on the comments that I received from the last chat. And so go ahead, put your questions and comments. If there's anything that you find to be too private, please do not share it here. This is a public forum, okay? And a lot of people are watching this forum, so be careful about anything too sensitive and private. Don't share there. If there's anything private that you'd like to share, you could always contact my office, schedule a consultation, and I'd be happy to brainstorm some ideas with you. So let's go ahead and get started. I have several questions. By the way, before we get started, are you following me on Instagram? If you're not following me on Instagram, you're going to want to do so because I'm really getting into Instagram now. I like it. For the past several days, everyone has been really, really excited about the fact that the courts here in New York stopped public charge from being implemented yesterday. But what you need to understand is that the courts stopped the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, from implementing its public charge rules. But the Department of State issued its version of the public charge rules as well. And they were strategic about when to put their rules out. And they waited until Friday of last week, friends, to put out their version. And their version is basically the same as what DHS had, okay? It mirrors it, same rules. Department of State, DOS, basically has the power to implement public charge as of today, to the filming of this video, this live session. Now, they waited strategically until last Friday to do this because they were watching to see what would happen with DHS's rule. They were waiting to find out how the court was going to rule. But what they have said today to us is that visa applicants are not requested to take any additional steps at this time and should attend their visa interviews as scheduled. The department is seeking approval for use of a new form before it implements any changes to our processes. Okay, we will inform applicants of any changes to current visa application procedures. So basically what they're saying is that with respect to trying to do anything, submit additional documents, don't do anything yet. Just keep everything at status quo. Just keep moving your process along based on the instructions that you've received from them, from the US Embassy, from the NVC. Keep things status quo. Don't change anything yet until they tell you, because they haven't really figured out how to do this yet. That's what's really going on here. They have not yet provided guidance to the embassies and the council, the officers who are going to be interviewing people. They don't really know what to do yet until headquarters tell them what to do. So headquarters is trying to go through some additional steps here to create a new form and get that new form approved. And once that new form is approved, it'll provide guidance to its officers. Listen, listen, listen. Listen. There's a little wiggle room right now. Wiggle room. You have a little breathing space. Those who are here in the US for sure have a little breathing space to get their act together and file their applications right away before the court makes a final ruling on public charge here in the US. And then and now with respect to DOS, Department of State, you have a little breathing to submit your family's petition. Don't sit there and say to yourself, well, I don't have money to pay the filing fee, or I don't have money to hire someone like Attorney McBean. You better have the money somehow, because this thing, and I hate to be so dramatic, I hate to be this dramatic, but it's that important. You have a little wiggle room right now while the government is trying to figure out how to implement this to those of you who are outside of the US. So urge your relatives to get your filing in as soon as possible. Don't be afraid to make it happen. Okay, and if you're here in the US, you've got to put in your adjustment of status application right away. Don't sit and wait, okay? Something weird is going on with my hair here. Okay, so that's what I want to tell you. That's the biggest news right now. Now I'm going to dive into your questions, and keep the chat box active. I will review your comments after this, and I may answer your question in the next live session. Tonight, I'm going to answer questions that came out of the Green Card Answers video from October 3rd. So let's get to it. First question comes from a gentleman who says, please do not call out my name. I love that. He said, please don't call out my name. Okay, sir, I will not call out your name. So his question is this: I would like to meet you at your office. I'm in Brooklyn. I don't know if you work on Saturdays. Please let me know. And again, please don't call out my name. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Well, thank you very much. And so, friends, yes, our office hours have changed, have been extended. We do have Saturday hours now. We're here from 9 to 3. So for those of you who need to meet with someone in my office, whether it's me or another person in my office, we are open on Saturdays. Thank you for that question, sir. Next question comes from Iberi. You're surprised that I pronounced your name correctly, huh? That's because I have a lot of African connections. Iberi. Okay, so he asked, is it possible to get 10 years green card instead of 2 years if you have a child with a US citizen? And so the answer is no, even though you may have great evidence that you have a bona fide marriage because you have a child with this person. That's not the standard that the government is looking at when it determines whether you're going to get the 2-year green card or the 10-year green card. What they're looking at is whether you've been married for less than 2 years at the time that your green card is approved, okay? So Iberi, that's what they're looking at, not whether you guys have a child together, okay? All right, Miranda asks, what documents would you recommend to take to the marriage interview? So Miranda, what I would say to you is this. Firstly, look at the interview letter that the government sent to you and your spouse. That letter will give you the guidance that you need, okay? That letter is very specific about what original documents and copies of documents that you need to bring. So firstly, you definitely need to bring the right IDs, right? You need to bring your birth certificate, passports, whatever IDs they've asked you to bring, Miranda, bring those documents. Also, employment letters. You need current employment letters, pay stubs, the most recent tax return, evidence of bona fide marriage. Also, Miranda, if you, as the beneficiary of the green card. If you had gotten yourself into any trouble with the law, you're going to need to bring your original court certification or certificate of disposition. The government wants to know how that matter was resolved. So you've got to bring the original with the seal on it, the stamp on it, okay? Also, you're going to need to bring any recent utility bills, bank statements, and other things like that. So just read the letter and that'll help you. Okay, so this is a name that I will not get right, and it's Salu, forgive me. Okay, so Salu says that he has a brother here in the US. The brother is a US citizen, and he's also in the US. So his question is whether the brother could help him. Can the brother help him? And so what we're talking about here is sibling petition. So today I had a great consultation with a beautiful woman who has also been here for a while, has a US citizen sibling who petitioned for her. But unfortunately, because the sibling petition process requires that if you're here in the US, you need to have a lawful status in order to adjust your status. That's just the law, okay? And so unfortunately, because she had overstayed, she's not able to adjust her status. And so that's the problem that you may encounter as well, okay? So if you're eligible for a waiver, you're going to have to consular process. And friends, the lighting in my office is changing. That's because it's getting darker. So just bear with me. Okay, James asks, James says, can you use public benefits as a US citizen? The answer is yes, if you're eligible, okay? Okay, here's a question that came from Augustine. Good afternoon, Augustine from Newark, New Jersey. I'm married to a US citizen, but we live in a separate state here in the US. Okay, just want to be sure if it mattered since we're not living together. I'm going to do a video on this one, Augustine, so stay tuned. This is a great question. People ask this all the time, and you've got to be very careful about how you approach this. So I'll do a video on that. Okay, Del Rito says, I just sent my adjustment of status package to USCIS. If I do get an RFE, which is a request for additional evidence, how should I go about responding to that RFE? And so the first thing that I would say to you, and I think I have a video about this issue too, about how to respond to RFEs, go back and look at some of those old videos, Del Rito. But in this live session, I would tell you to, first of all, check the deadline that's in that letter, because you don't want to miss it. If you miss it, it could be detrimental. It could lead to a denial, okay? So first thing to look for is how soon do you need to respond, okay? And calendar that. You don't want to miss it. Then the second thing you need to ask yourself is this something that I can manage on my own? Is this an easy fix? For example, if the government asked you simply to submit the I-693, which is the medical examination form that their civil surgeon fills out, if that's all that you need to do and mail back to them, then that's a no-brainer. You can do it, okay? Don't need me for that. Don't need me. Don't call me about that issue, okay? You could do that. However, if they are asking you to explain something, to provide additional evidence about something, then you should certainly get a lawyer, because in this day and age, we're under a new policy that says that if you're denied of adjustment of status, you could end up in removal, okay? So if they're asking for additional evidence with respect to proving that your marriage is real, or you to explain something you said to them previously or something like that, then you really need to tread carefully, and you need to call me at that time, okay? That's when you need to call me. Okay, I think I'm on my last question. It comes from Tony. Tony says he needs to fill out the I-751, which is the petition to remove conditions on his 2-year green card. He says that it asks for various evidence, right? That he submit various evidence, one of which is affidavits sworn to or affirmed by at least 2 people. What does this mean? So basically what the government is asking for, Tony, is letters of support from other people in your life. Letters of support that talks about whether, if this is a marriage case, I don't know. If this is a marriage, obviously this is I-751. Let me back up. I-751. So it is about your marriage. So you're going to need to submit letters, notarized letters from people who know you and your wife. And those letters will need to indicate the person's age, their date of birth, their address, and what their relationship is to you or your wife. Is it a cousin? Is it a sibling? Is it a colleague at work? And they need to talk about your relationship. I tell my clients all the time, do not give me any letters that basically attest that you're a good person. Don't want it. I don't submit those letters. Unless it's a character issue that we're trying to resolve in your case, don't do that. Focus on, if this is a removal of conditions case, marriage issue, focus on the nature of your relationship and the times that that person who's submitting that letter, the times that they share with you and your wife. Do you guys play sport on a sports team together, go to church together, spend holidays together? How do they know you? How do they know your wife? The times that they've seen you and your wife together, and just really bolstering the relationship. Focus is on the relationship, not on you and what a great person you are. Government can care less about that. It's about the nature of the marriage and who else can testify that the marriage is real. That's all that they're looking for there. I hope that was helpful to you guys. I'm going to get out of here now. Friends, get on my email list. I'm going to put a link to that here so that you can get juicy emails from me. Friends, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.